Have you ever felt that quiet ache of loneliness creeping in during the evenings, or noticed how your steps aren't quite as steady as they used to be? Maybe you've wondered if it's just part of getting older, or something more. Many seniors face this silent struggle, feeling torn between wanting independence and fearing being a burden. But what if the way we think about who we live with in our later years isn't quite right? It's easy to assume that living with family is always best, or that being alone means loneliness, but science shows there's more to it than that. In this video, we'll gently explore the surprising truths about living arrangements for seniors. What brings peace, connection, and joy as we age. By the end, you might see your own home and relationships in a whole new light. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Familiar situations and emotions. Feelings of loneliness and pressure when living alone or with family. There's a certain silence that settles over the house in the late afternoon, a kind of hush that seems to seep into the walls, wrapping itself around you. For many older adults living alone, this quiet is both a blessing and a burden. Maybe you know it well. The freedom to arrange your day, to eat when you want, to linger with a good book, these are small joys. But sometimes, as the sun goes down and the house grows dim, that freedom turns into a heavy loneliness. The phone doesn't ring. The dinner table feels too large for just one plate. Maybe the television stays on in the background, just for the comfort of another voice. If you're like many seniors in America, you might recognize this feeling. Independence is something you've earned, a lifetime of decisions, hard work, and caring for others. But independence can come with a cost. Family visits might be less frequent than you'd hoped. Neighbors move away. Friends you used to see every week are now distant voices or memories. There's a quiet ache in these moments, one you might not speak about, but that lingers all the same. On the other side, some live with family. Grown children, perhaps, or even grandchildren. At first, it sounds like the answer to loneliness. There's movement in the house, laughter, the comforting noise of a full home. But living with others isn't always easy either. Your routines might clash with theirs. Privacy feels like a thing of the past. Sometimes, there's a subtle pressure to fit in, to not be a burden, to keep opinions quiet for the sake of peace. Maybe you find yourself tiptoeing around old arguments or biting your tongue to keep harmony. The feeling of being in the way creeps in, unspoken, but always present. Many people assume that loneliness is only for those who live alone and that living with family will automatically cure it. But is that true? Does sharing a roof always mean sharing our hearts, our worries, our joys? Or could it be possible to feel alone even in a house full of people? This is a question worth asking, especially as more Americans are living longer, and families are trying to find the right balance between togetherness and independence. Let's look at what's happening beneath the surface. Loneliness is not simply about being by yourself. Psychologists say it's about a lack of meaningful connection, feeling unseen, unheard, or unnecessary. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, nearly 1 in 3 older Americans reports feeling lonely regularly, regardless of their living situation. Surprisingly, some of the loneliest people are those living with family, not just those who are alone. This happens when relationships become shallow, or when there's a lack of true conversation, shared activities, or mutual respect. Pressure is the other side of this coin. Older adults living with family can feel pressure to fit into routines that aren't their own, to help with grandchildren or household chores even when they're tired, or to not cause trouble. This pressure can be internal, born from a desire to be useful, to not feel like a burden. But it can also be external, especially in families where old patterns or expectations persist. So, what can be done about these feelings of loneliness and pressure? The solution isn't always as simple as moving in with family or choosing to live alone. It starts with honest conversations. First with yourself, then with your loved ones. Ask yourself, what truly makes you feel connected? Is it a regular phone call? Shared meals? A neighbor who drops by once a week? Sometimes, it's the little rituals that make the biggest difference. For those living alone, building a routine that includes social interaction, even small doses, can ease loneliness. This might mean joining a book club at the local library, attending church or community events, or volunteering a few hours a week. Technology, too, can be a bridge. Learning to video chat with family, joining online groups for hobbies or support, or even playing games with friends across the miles. It's about staying engaged in life, not letting the world grow smaller just because the household has. If you're living with family and feeling pressured or invisible, remember that boundaries matter. It's okay to ask for time for yourself or to set limits on what you can help with. Share your feelings openly and kindly with your loved ones. Most families want to help, but may not realize what you need unless you tell them. Suggest having regular family meetings, or meals where everyone shares their week, or creating quiet hours where everyone can relax separately. Let me share the story of Mrs. Helen, a woman from Ohio I met last spring. Helen is 79 ahas ND lived with her daughter's family after her husband passed. She was grateful for the company, but soon she felt lost in the daily chaos. School runs, soccer practice, endless laundry. I felt like a ghost in my own life, she told me. One evening, after a teary conversation with her daughter, they made a new plan. Helen would have 2 evenings a week to herself for knitting and reading, and every Sunday morning, she and her granddaughter would bake together, just the two of them. These small changes brought back her sense of purpose and joy. She found new ways to feel seen and valued, even in a busy house. If you're nodding along, recognizing yourself in these words, know that you're not alone. Whether you live solo or with a bustling family, the heart's desire for connection is universal. The truth is, it's not about how many people share your home. It's about the quality of the connections you nurture, the space you carve for yourself, and the honesty you bring to your needs and hopes. So tonight, as you settle into your favorite chair or hear the distant laughter from the kitchen, remember, you deserve to feel loved and respected wherever you live. Reach out, speak up, and let yourself be heard. The journey to feeling less alone begins with a single step: a phone call, a conversation, a small act of self-kindness. Growing older doesn't mean growing isolated. It means you have a lifetime of wisdom to share, and a right to joy and companionship in these precious years. 2. Question that challenges assumptions. Is living with children always the best choice for seniors? For as long as many of us can remember, there's been a kind of unspoken rule. When you get older, it's natural to move in with your children. Maybe you grew up watching your grandparents settle into a spare bedroom down the hall, or perhaps you were raised in a close-knit family where several generations shared one roof. The idea is comforting, even noble. Family taking care of family, no one left behind. It's a vision painted in warm colors. Sunday dinners around a crowded table, grandchildren running through the house, laughter and stories filling every corner. But is this the best option for everyone? Is living with your children always the golden ticket to happiness in your later years? Or is there another side to the story, quietly unfolding behind closed doors? Let's pause for a moment and ask a question that rarely gets voiced. What if moving in with your children isn't always the right choice? What if the dream of a multi-generational household comes with hidden costs, ones that can sometimes outweigh the benefits? It's easy to assume that living with family will erase loneliness and guarantee care, but real life is far more complicated. For some, that new arrangement brings peace and belonging. For others, it introduces stress, conflict, and a sense of losing oneself. Science and stories alike challenge this old assumption. Recent studies from AARP and the Pew Research Center reveal a changing landscape for American seniors. While about 1 in 5 older adults in the U.S. lives with extended family, a majority express a desire for independence, even when they need a little help. Why is that? To begin with, our society has changed. Unlike in decades past, most American families today lead busy, sometimes scattered lives. Adult children juggle full-time jobs, raising their kids, and financial pressures. Adding an aging parent into the mix can feel like just one more thing, and while it's often done with love, it can also create strain and resentment on both sides. Seniors may worry about being a burden, while their children, despite the best intentions, may struggle with feelings of guilt, frustration, or exhaustion. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Consider the practical side. Your routines, your needs, and your lifestyle might differ greatly from your children's. Maybe you prefer a quiet breakfast, reading the newspaper as the sun comes up, but the rest of the house is in a morning rush. School lunches being packed, emails buzzing, dogs barking at the door. The very things that make a family vibrant can also make it overwhelming. Your desire for peace and order can clash with their whirlwind schedules. There's also the matter of personal boundaries. Sharing space can mean giving up your privacy and autonomy. You may find yourself adapting to someone else's household rules or feeling self-conscious about asking for help. Simple things, like adjusting the thermostat, choosing what's for dinner, or deciding when to go to bed, suddenly involve negotiations or compromise. For seniors who've spent decades running their own homes, this loss of control can feel suffocating. And then there's the emotional toll. Family dynamics don't disappear with age. In fact, they often grow more pronounced. Old wounds might resurface, unspoken expectations can create tension, and even minor disagreements can fester in close quarters. Grandparents may feel left out of decision-making, or, conversely, pressured to take on roles they no longer want or can fulfill. Adult children may love their parents dearly but feel caught between their responsibilities as caregivers, parents, and professionals. Of course, there are countless examples where living together works beautifully. For some families, the experience brings joy, deep connection, and mutual support. But the reality is that what works for one family may not work for another, and there is no universal answer. Take, for instance, the story of Mr. Tom Jenkins from Michigan. After his wife passed, Tom moved in with his daughter's family, hoping for comfort and togetherness. The first few months were sweet: shared meals, bedtime stories with his grandchildren, a sense of being needed again. But slowly, Tom found himself retreating to his room more often. His daughter's busy life left her little time for deep conversation. Tom felt awkward about interrupting or voicing his needs. Over time, small irritations grew: a clash over TV volume, disagreements about food, frustration about feeling invisible. Eventually, Tom and his daughter had a heart-to-heart talk. They realized that their love was just as strong, but the living arrangement was taking a toll on both of them. With support from his family, Tom moved into a senior apartment complex nearby. He gained new friends, a renewed sense of independence, and a closer, more relaxed relationship with his daughter. Now, when they meet, it's with genuine warmth and appreciation, not tension. So, what are the gentle solutions for seniors and families grappling with this question? The answer starts with honesty and respect towards yourself and those you love. Before making any decision, take the time to reflect. What do you value most? Independence, companionship, privacy, support. What are your health needs, your social preferences, and your daily rhythms? Don't be afraid to speak openly with your children or family members. Explore all the options: living together, living apart but nearby, hiring in-home care, or joining a senior community. Consider trial periods, and be willing to adjust if things aren't working out. For families, remember that true care isn't just about proximity, it's about connection and respect. You can support an aging parent's well-being just as effectively by visiting regularly, calling often, and staying involved, even if you don't live under the same roof. Sometimes, Giving a loved one space to thrive on their own terms is the greatest gift you can give. If you find yourself struggling with this decision, know that you're not alone. The landscape of aging is changing, and so are the choices available. It's not a sign of failure to want something different from tradition. It's a sign of wisdom and courage to pursue the living arrangement that best supports your joy and well-being. Growing older is not about fitting into someone else's idea of what life should look like. It's about honoring your own needs, nurturing the relationships that matter, and choosing a path that brings you peace, wherever and with whomever that may be. 3. Clear explanation, common living arrangements for seniors and the impact of each. As we move through the chapters of our lives, the question of where and with whom should I live takes on new meaning. In America today, older adults have more options than ever before, but each comes with its own blessings and challenges. Let's gently walk through these choices, looking not only at the practical side, but also at the impact each has on our hearts, minds, and sense of self. For many, living alone seems like the natural next step. After raising a family, building a career, and handling a lifetime's worth of responsibilities, there's a quiet pride in having a space to call your own. You can arrange your favorite chair by the window, fill the fridge with the foods you love, and set your own daily pace, waking, eating, napping, and relaxing whenever it suits you. This independence is deeply cherished by many American seniors, a testament to a lifetime of self-reliance. Yet, as freeing as living alone can be, it can also feel like standing on an island. At first, the solitude feels peaceful, even luxurious. But as days go by, a subtle loneliness can creep in, especially when the phone is silent and visits are far between. Studies from the National Institutes of Health reveal that seniors who live alone are at a higher risk of social isolation, which can lead to depression, anxiety, and even a decline in physical health. Everyday tasks, like changing a light bulb, shoveling snow, or getting to a doctor's appointment, can suddenly feel overwhelming. The independence that once brought comfort can, in time, turn into a quiet source of anxiety. For many, the nights feel the longest, filled with memories and what-ifs. On the other hand, there's the option of living with family. Whether it's moving in with your adult children, sharing a home with siblings, or even welcoming extended relatives. For some, this is a return to tradition, a chance to deepen family bonds and create new memories with grandchildren. The house is full of energy, laughter, and activity. No day is ever quite the same. There's help with daily tasks and someone nearby in case of emergencies. It can feel good to be needed, to have a role in the daily life of the family, and to be surrounded by familiar faces. But living with family is not without its hurdles. The same energy that brings joy can sometimes feel overwhelming. Privacy, once taken for granted, becomes a rare commodity. Schedules may clash, and personal preferences, like when to eat, what to watch on TV, or how to spend the weekend, may be the source of tension. Generational differences can lead to misunderstandings or old arguments resurfacing. And for some, there's a deep fear of being a burden, of taking away freedom from the very people you love the most. Sometimes, the pressure to keep the peace leads to silence, as opinions are kept hidden to avoid stirring the pot. Psychologists note that while living with family can reduce practical risks like falls or emergencies, it does not always guarantee emotional fulfillment. True connection requires more than just proximity. For others, joining a retirement community or assisted living facility offers a new sense of belonging. Modern retirement communities are not the cold, impersonal places of decades past. Today, many are vibrant hubs of activity, offering fitness classes, group outings, art workshops, and book clubs. There's always a neighbor to chat with or a friend to share a meal. These communities provide safety nets, medical support is on hand, and help is just a button away. The maintenance, yard work, and house repairs that once felt daunting are now someone else's job. This lifestyle can be liberating, especially for those who crave social interaction and want to stay active. Still, moving to a retirement community is a big transition. It often means saying goodbye to a beloved home, letting go of possessions, and adapting to a new environment. Some people flourish in this setting, finding purpose and friendship they hadn't realized they were missing. For others, though, the change can feel like a loss of identity. There's a sense of being just another resident, or a worry about becoming disconnected from family and the outside world. It takes courage and time to build new relationships, and not everyone feels at home in these places. There are also creative, less traditional paths growing in popularity. Some seniors choose to live with close friends in shared housing arrangements, sometimes called Golden Girls living. Sharing expenses, chores, and companionship can be both practical and deeply satisfying. Others opt for aging in place with in-home care, remaining in their familiar home, but with the support of visiting nurses, aides, or meal delivery services. Technology, too, is making this option more viable, with everything from medical alert systems to video calls with family. These arrangements offer the best of both worlds, the comfort of home, with the security of support when needed. Each living arrangement comes with its own impact, not just on the body, but on the spirit. Studies show that seniors who feel connected and respected, no matter where they live, tend to thrive. They recover faster from illness, experience less cognitive decline, and report higher satisfaction with life. The key isn't so much the address, but the environment of care, respect, and meaningful connection. Consider the story of Alice, a retired teacher from Oregon. After her husband died, Alice lived alone for several years. She enjoyed her garden and her books but gradually felt more isolated. Her daughter invited her to move in, and though Alice was hesitant, she tried it for a year. While she loved seeing her grandchildren, she missed her own space and routines. Eventually, with her family's blessing, she found an apartment in a senior living community nearby. Now, she enjoys a balance: privacy, friends, and family close enough to visit often. "I finally feel like myself again," she says, smiling. No matter the path, the most important thing is to honor your own needs. Living alone, with family, or in a senior community, all are valid, and each has its season. What matters most is that you feel safe, valued, and free to live on your own terms. As you consider your own choices, remember, your well-being is shaped as much by your surroundings as by the love and respect you allow yourself to receive and give. You deserve a home that feels like home, wherever that may be. 4. Gentle, practical solutions. How to balance living arrangements to suit personal and family needs. Finding the right living arrangement in your later years is not a simple, one-size-fits-all equation. Every person, every family, and every home is unique, woven together by memories, habits, and hopes. But if there is one truth that spans all those differences, it's this: the best solution is the one that respects both your personal needs and the needs of those you love. Balancing independence and connection is more of an art than a science. And often, it begins with a single, honest conversation. For many older adults, the urge to maintain independence is strong. Maybe you've spent decades making your own decisions, managing a household, and handling life's curveballs. You cherish your routines, how you start your mornings, when you go to bed, the small freedoms that make a house feel truly yours. It's natural to want to protect that. But even the most independent spirits can find comfort in companionship, especially as the years pass and challenges arise. The question, then, is not whether to choose independence or togetherness, but how to create a life that offers both, in just the right measure. Start by being honest with yourself about what you need, physically, emotionally, and socially. Are you still comfortable handling all the daily tasks around your home? Do you have friends or neighbors you trust to check in on you? Do you feel safe getting out and about? Or are there moments, perhaps after a slip or a lonely evening, when you wish someone were just a little closer? Admitting that you'd like more company or support doesn't mean giving up your independence. In fact, recognizing and voicing your needs is a powerful form of self-respect. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Once you've checked in with yourself, it's time to open up with your family. Sometimes, these conversations can feel daunting. No one wants to be a burden, and children, busy with their own lives, may hesitate to bring up the subject, afraid of hurting feelings or seeming intrusive. Yet, families who talk openly and early about living arrangements almost always find more peace and fewer surprises down the road. Try starting small. Share your hopes for the future, what's working well in your current setup, and what worries you. Maybe you're content living alone, but would feel better knowing someone stops by once a week. Or perhaps you'd like to test out living with your daughter for a month before making anything permanent. If you do decide to live with family, be clear about boundaries. Is there a room or time of day that's just yours? Can you keep certain traditions, even in a shared home? Honest, loving discussions make all the difference. There are many practical solutions that allow for both independence and support. Technology offers more options than ever before, from wearable medical alert devices to smart home systems that can remind you to take medication or notify family if something is amiss. Even simple video calls can keep distant loved ones close, bridging gaps that once felt insurmountable. If staying in your own home is important to you, consider making small adjustments to boost your comfort and safety. Install grab bars in the bathroom, use night lights in the hallway, or arrange for meals to be delivered if cooking becomes difficult. Many communities offer aging-in-place services, part-time helpers, transportation, or companions who can visit a few times a week. This can ease family worries and help you enjoy your home longer. Alternatively, if you're drawn to the idea of a senior community but not ready for a big change, try exploring local activity centers first. Many towns have clubs, classes, or coffee mornings designed specifically for older adults. Attending a few can give you a sense of community and routine without moving from your current home. Later, if you do decide to transition into a retirement community or assisted living, it'll feel less like a leap and more like a natural next step. Sometimes, gentle compromise is needed when living with family. Agree in advance on household chores, finances, and privacy. Maybe you can take charge of the garden, while your daughter handles groceries. Or perhaps you'll cook Sunday dinners together but keep separate schedules during the week. Respect flows both ways. Your family's home may have new noises or habits, and they may need to adjust just as much as you do. Let's meet Mr. Harris, a widower from Colorado. After his wife passed, he cherished his home but found it too quiet, especially during snowy winters. His son suggested moving in, but Mr. Harris worried about feeling like a guest in his own child's house. They settled on a creative compromise. Mr. Harris would spend weekdays in his own home, with a neighbor checking in, and weekends at his son's place. This flexible arrangement gave Mr. Harris the comfort of home, but also regular connection and support. Over time, he found that having a base in both places kept loneliness at bay, and strengthened his relationship with his family, too. Above all, remember that there's no perfect answer, and your needs may change as life moves forward. What works this year may not feel right next year, and that's okay. Regularly revisit the conversation with your family and adjust as needed. Try to see these transitions not as loss, but as natural steps in a life well lived, each bringing new opportunities for growth and joy. It's worth repeating, asking for help or choosing to live with family doesn't mean losing your voice. Independence can be found in many forms. Sometimes it's choosing your own routine, other times it's setting boundaries, and often it's knowing when to accept a hand that's offered in love. As you reflect on your living arrangement, let this be your encouragement. You have the wisdom and the right to create a life that feels safe, connected, and true to your needs. Whether you live alone, with family, or in a vibrant community, what matters most is how you feel each day, respected, cared for, and at home, wherever you are. Sometimes, the best solution is not a place, but a state of mind. one built on communication, flexibility, and the courage to reach for happiness, one small step at a time. 5. Real-life example, optional. Illustrative stories. Stories have a way of shining light into the corners of our hearts, revealing truths we might not see in statistics or advice. When it comes to choosing where, and with whom, to live in our later years, no amount of planning or research replaces the lived experience of others who have walked this road before us. Across America, seniors from every walk of life are finding their own answers, sometimes after struggle, sometimes with joy, and always with courage. Take the story of Ruth and Harold Simmons, a couple from Minnesota. They'd spent more than 50 years in the same charming bungalow, raised 3 children there, planted a backyard maple tree now older than any grandchild, filled the home with laughter and the quiet comfort of shared routines. When Harold's arthritis worsened, Ruth became his caretaker. The house that once felt cozy became a maze of stairs and chores. Their kids, spread across different states, worried about their parents' safety but knew how much the home meant to them. For a while, Ruth insisted she could handle everything on her own. But after Harold fell and spent a night in the hospital, reality hit hard. I sat by his bedside, holding his hand, Ruth remembers, and realized that love meant accepting help, not just giving it. Their children rallied around them, but the couple wanted to remain as independent as possible. After many honest conversations, they moved into an assisted living apartment just a few blocks from their old house. The decision wasn't easy. Ruth grieved for her garden, Harold for his workshop. But as months passed, they found new friends, a sense of relief in letting go of daily burdens, and even started a small gardening club on the building's rooftop. "We didn't lose our freedom," Ruth says. "We found a new kind of freedom." Then there's the story of Samuel Wright, a retired carpenter from Georgia. After his wife passed away, the family expected he'd move in with his daughter, Linda. Samuel loved his family deeply but cherished his solitude, the slow mornings, the way the sunlight hit his favorite chair, the neighbors who'd drop in for coffee. Still, loneliness sometimes crept in. After a long conversation with Linda, they struck a balance. Samuel would stay in his home, but with weekly visits from Linda and a local home aide who helped with groceries and minor chores. They also set up a routine: Sunday dinners at Linda's, video calls with the grandkids, and Samuel's church friends stopping by to check in. "I didn't want to lose myself just because I lost my wife," Samuel shares. "My home is full of memories, but now it's also filled with the people I love, even if they don't live under the same roof." Contrast that with the lively experience of Janine Baker and her 2 closest friends in Arizona. The 3 met in college, kept in touch over decades, and after all being widowed in their 70s, decided to do something bold. They sold their houses and bought a place together. The idea of a Golden Girls living arrangement sounded fun, but none of them expected how deeply satisfying it would be. They each had their own bedroom and private space, but shared meals, chores, laughter, and the everyday ups and downs of aging. Janine says, "We look after each other, but we're not caretakers. We're companions. When one of us is having a bad day, the others are right there to lift her up." The arrangement isn't without bumps, disagreements over TV shows or who forgot to replace the milk, but the sense of camaraderie and shared history outweighs the minor squabbles. And then, sometimes, the best choice is a creative compromise. Take Maria Alvarez, an 82-year-old from Texas. Her son invited her to move in after her hip surgery, but Maria cherished her independence too much. So they came up with a plan. Maria would live in a small in-law suite attached to her son's house, with her own entrance, kitchenette, and porch. This setup gave Maria the safety and support she needed after surgery, but also preserved her routines, privacy, and sense of ownership. "I can see my grandchildren every day," Maria says, "but I can also close my door and enjoy my own peace. It's the best of both worlds." Of course, not every story is smooth or ends with a perfect solution. Sometimes, seniors and their families try one arrangement and realize it isn't working. Dorothy Lewis, for example, moved into her daughter's house after her husband passed, hoping to help with her grandkids and stay busy. At first, it felt wonderful, but over time, Dorothy felt invisible, her needs taking a back seat to the chaos of a young family. After several emotional talks, she moved into a vibrant senior apartment complex nearby, where she made new friends and regained a sense of purpose. She visits her family often, but now she feels seen, respected, and truly at home. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Each of these stories is different, but all are united by a willingness to be honest about what works and what doesn't, and to make changes as needed. The thread running through them is not a specific address or a certain type of living arrangement, but the courage to choose what feels right and the grace to adapt as life changes. If you're watching this and wondering what your own story could be, take heart. There is no right or wrong way to live as you age. Only what brings you the greatest sense of connection, dignity, and joy. Whether that's in the home you've loved for decades, with family, in a community of friends, or somewhere new entirely, let these stories inspire you to listen to your own needs and trust that your next chapter can be just as meaningful and bright as those that came before. Sometimes, the bravest choice is simply to say, "This is what I need," and to go find it. 6. Inspirational message. As the sun sets and casts a golden glow over another day, it's natural to reflect on where we are in life and with whom we share our days. If there's one truth that emerges from the journeys of so many older Americans, it's that this chapter of life is not about limitations, but about possibilities. The choice of where and how to live is, at its heart, a chance to honor who you are, what you value, and how you want to spend your precious time. Perhaps you find yourself living alone, savoring the peace of a quiet morning and the freedom to choose your own pace. Or maybe your home is alive with the sounds of family. Children and grandchildren filling the rooms with laughter and love. You might have found a new sense of community among neighbors or friends, or perhaps you are still searching for the perfect balance between independence and companionship. Whatever your path, know that your journey is uniquely yours, shaped by courage, wisdom, and an unbreakable spirit. It takes bravery to speak your needs aloud, to ask for support when you need it, or to set boundaries so your days are filled with meaning. It takes even more strength to embrace change, to try new ways of living, or to reach out for connection in a world that sometimes forgets to look your way. Yet, again and again, you have risen to life's challenges, finding ways to adapt, to grow, and to find joy. Remember, happiness in later life isn't measured by the number of people under your roof or the size of your home. It is found in the warmth of a meaningful conversation, in the comfort of cherished routines, and in the freedom to live each day in a way that feels right for you. Connection, whether with family, friends, or neighbors, nourishes the soul, but so does honoring your hopes and dreams. So wherever you find yourself, whether in a bustling house, a peaceful apartment, or somewhere in between, allow yourself the grace to ask, "What do I truly need right now?" And trust that it is never too late to seek new friendships, start new traditions, or carve out the space you need to feel at home. Your life, in every chapter, is a testament to resilience and love. By choosing what brings you comfort and joy, you not only shape your well-being but also set a powerful example for those who walk beside you and those who will follow. The courage to live authentically, to make bold choices, and to cherish every moment is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and the world. As you look ahead, may you feel empowered to create the living arrangement that makes your heart feel safe, seen, and celebrated. You deserve nothing less than a life rich with connection, purpose, and peace, today and always. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to honor the questions and feelings that come with growing older. Choosing where and with whom to live is not simply a practical decision. It's one woven with memories, hope, and sometimes a little fear of the unknown. It's about finding the balance between independence and support, privacy and togetherness, comfort and new beginnings. We've seen that there's no single answer that fits every person or every family. For some, living alone brings a cherished sense of freedom and self-reliance. For others, being close to children or friends creates comfort and belonging. Some find joy in vibrant senior communities or in creative living arrangements that blend the best of both worlds. The most important lesson is that your needs, feelings, and dreams truly matter. As you reflect on your situation, remember to listen to your heart. Have open, honest conversations with your loved ones. Be gentle with yourself if your needs change over time. It's never too late to try something new, to reach out for help, or to reshape your days in a way that brings you peace. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned about yourself or your family from this video? Is there one thing you feel inspired to consider or try? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, let's create a community where every senior feels heard, valued, and empowered to live life fully on their terms.